at some point you have to really like look at yourself and say, yo, what am I, for real, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And like, who am I doing it for? Am I even doing anything for myself? Like, am I doing anything to even like, for real, better the people, to heal my family, to bring forth some type of, like some type of shift within the area that, fuck, now I'm thinking about it and I'm losing it. Oh man, it's okay. It's okay. Because what was I talking about before this? Now the camera's out and I'm just like, brah, and Spirit's like, girl, just talk. What was I saying? I don't know. What were you saying? Oh, there was a lot of shit going on. Fuck, it's gone. It's not gone. It's still there. I feel like as soon as I turn the camera off, it's gonna switch. Okay. The only way for you to get through to your next step, nope, because now you're trying to perform. Now you're thinking of words to say instead of saying the words. You're trying to formulate it and package it in a deal that you've heard before, instead of just saying it how it was coming to you or how you would say it to yourself. And that's what it comes down to. When you are able to say, when you're in flow with your speech, like you're talking to yourself. Like I talk to myself. So when some people, oh, that's crazy. Okay, bitch, well, you know what? At least, for the most part, my self-talk is positive. So, it is what it is. But when I try to like formulate something and think about it too deeply, it's like my message is not being conveyed because I'm conveying a message that I've already heard that is now taking over, because like that's, when you go back into your default setting of like the conditioning that you elevated yourself from. And it's so, that switch is always like a fine line between that little switch there. And in order to you just have to widen the gap between your essentially your lower self, your higher self, your ego, your soul, your spirit. And I'm losing it because now I'm starting to think about other things. And I feel like, because I'm working on my consistency and my devotion to self. And in learning how to be more devoted to self, I have been learning how to stop being such a people pleaser, right? And being concerned with how somebody's going to perceive me. So I may not say a thing or do a thing because I have a fear of what this person may say or how they may view me, or, what they may, what their opinion of me would be. And most of the time, it's the opinion of myself. I realize I am a people pleaser to my own ego. Like I appease my ego more than anything else. And because I appease my ego so much, my ego reflects those voices that I'm thinking. It reflects like what I think people will say about me, because I'm already thinking that about myself. So it's like, I feel like in an essence, it's that fear of like getting that revealed to you through someone else, because you know how you can speak about yourself from time to time. And shifting from appeasing your ego to appeasing your soul, that is a process that you have to surrender in order to fully receive. There is no way that you can appease your soul and your ego at the same time. Somebody's going to like have a little bit more and somebody's going to have a little bit less. The more I appease my soul, the more my ego wants to be appeased. And that's where the resilience comes in. That's where the fortification comes in. That's where the faith comes in. That's where the knowing that you have been through things before. You're experiencing life, right? Life is not experiencing you. We are to experience all of this abundance. And the only way to experience it is if you are real with self, and if you allow your being to be present, being in a space of receptivity. I don't even know if that's a word. Sounded good though. But being able to receive requires a level of acceptance and surrender that most of us don't get to until we experience something that is traumatic. Like, it's just, and I'm talking about the things that you can actually like perceive and conceive, like the things that you can remember, right? Or the things that you can kind of explain. Because there are some things that, you know, have gone on for some of us, probably most of us. And at the time when it happened, like, we weren't able to like perceive what it was, but we know that it was something. And excuse me. The only way that I was able to open myself up is being real with myself, being 100% transparent. Like, when it comes to yourself, you can't, no holds bar, right? Like, there is a way for you to keep it real with yourself and still be kind, like that. And when I talk about radical transparency, I'm talking about like that's radical. Radical is being kind to self, even in moments where you may not be doing exactly what you're quote unquote supposed to do, or when you're not in a space that is as high vibrational as you would prefer to be. You can't get caught up in yourself, the things you do. Like, I'm so caught up in this one version of myself, and instead of just like shedding it and going on to the next version, and then shedding that version and going on to the next, it's like I'm stuck here in this version of self. And it's mainly because this version of self is supposed to be doing certain things. This version of self is supposed to be right here, right now, because in order to move to the next version of yourself, you have to complete this version of yourself. And you're still here because you have not completed this version of yourself. If you're in a space where you don't fully desire the life that you're living, and you feel like, your reality is not exactly what is in your mind, like if you're not living in the current reality that is of your best and highest self, then you have two options. You can either stay here and keep complaining, and then you complain until you die, literally, or you can introspect a little bit and ask yourself, well, what is it about my reality that's making me feel this way? And why am I feeling this? How did I get to the point where I am feeling this? And you have to ask yourself, the better the questions, you have to ask yourself open-ended questions. You cannot ask yourself yes or no questions. Did I do this? No. And then it's just going to stop there, because now you're like, okay, well, I didn't do it. But then there's no like, okay, why didn't I do this thing? Right? There's always a better way to ask yourself a question, because the point of it is it's comprehension. You're trying to comprehend. You're trying to comprehend yourself, your brain. Like, how does my brain function? Why did I do this versus doing that? And asking yourself better questions is the key to the next step, and the next step, and the next step, and the next step. Like, there's no way that you can stay in your present reality if that's not where you want to be. There's no way you can do that. You shouldn't be doing that to yourself. You shouldn't be doing that to yourself. If your present reality is less than what you desire, take a deep breath, number one, because I'm really just talking to myself. Number two, ask yourself better questions. Number three, give yourself the space and the grace to marinate on said questions. you're not asking the question just to answer it and move on. You're asking the question to really start to introspect about how you've been showing up in your life. What are your habits for real, for real? What are the things that you do that you said you was gonna not do, but then maybe you do it sometimes, and then like sometimes you have this boundary, or like most of the time you have the boundary, and then there might be one time where you drop the boundary, and then when you go to pick it back up, it's like, ah, shit, yeah, but then it's like, fuck, I already messed up with this boundary, I dropped it, so now do I just leave it dropped? And it's like, no, pick it back up. And then you keep going through this cycle back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, where you're indecisive, instead of you just deciding to do the thing, see it through, see it forward, and not continuously worry about every single decision you're making. You made the decision. I know a lot of the things that we experience are it's decision based. There are certain oh, excuse me. There are certain things that are out of our control, and I'm not talking about those things. I'm not talking about the out of the control things. Like we can't focus on those things. And I have had the experience of focusing on instances and people and just things and just stuff that did not matter and was out of my scope of practice. I'm over here, and everything I'm worried about is over here and there and there and there and there and out there and, you know, over here, and just in spaces and places where I'm not. So when your psyche has spent years being in a state, essentially like you're perpetually in the past, it's gonna take some time, and you're playing catch up now with your present body. You've been so out of body for so long, and now you're playing catch up with your body. Like your mind is now playing catch up with your body and how you've been experiencing life in this body. So playing catch up with your body, that means that you're paying more attention to what your body is doing. How is my body responding to a thing? Like right now, like my hands are cold, right? Like paying more attention to what is currently going on within my body. How does my body feel? How do I feel? And when you start to bring that connection back to mind, body, and self, it gives you a better opportunity to be able to be more decisive, because you're in your body, you're in the present state. So you can look at situations with your eyes open, all your eyes open, and see, okay, this is what it is. This is what I desire. I'm going to make this choice. I'm going to do this decision. I'm going to take this choice, right? You have your choices, right? You make a decision on whatever choice. Okay, I'm going here. I went here. It either can be desirable, less desirable. You know what? It was kind of midline. Okay, keep it going in the middle. You see more choices that present themselves, more opportunities, and you make decisions on the choices and the opportunities, and then you gauge what happens after and as you are making the decision. So this is the guiding force. Like if you're presented with the situation and it's two options, and you already know the two options, one of them is more desirable and the other option is less desirable. Now, depending on where you are and what you're doing and how you feel about yourself and how present you are within your body, you're gonna make a choice. I'm saying you're gonna make a decision based on these choices. So if you make the choice that is more desirable, you're more likely to make more choices that are, more desirable. But if you're making a choice that is less desirable, you have to analyze, well, why am I making this less desirable choice? You have to learn how to like even gauge your own self with that. Like that takes time to cultivate, and but it takes time, and we have the time. We have more time than not, and we can do so much more now than we can later. So we just do what you can now, and getting back into body so that you can make those better choices. When you're in a state of making those, the choices that aren't as good, quote unquote, you have to ask yourself, well, why am I making this decision? How does my body feel when I make this decision? What do I think when I make this decision? How do I even get to making this decision? And then there could be different caveats with that, because sometimes we're put in situations where there's only one choice. Because you had made a prior decision, like you've been made the decision, and because you made that one decision, now you're just experiencing a life where there's only one choice, and that one choice is literally keeping you right here because it's only one choice. Until you decide, hey, wait a minute, there's more choices. So now you can go all over the place, fucking choose, you know what I'm saying? Do the thing, because you expanded your capacity to see that there were actually way more choices and way more opportunities than not. These things take time. And the only way to cultivate the relationship necessary with self, with your mind, with your body, is through a practice that is through consistency and devotion to self. You have to choose yourself. You have to choose to keep yourself safe first, so that you can then choose that for others. And when I say that, I'm talking about like being able to speak to people. Not even speak to people. I mean, yeah, you can speak to people, but I feel like the more you keep yourself safe, the more of a safe space you become. And we need more safe spaces in this world. So if you don't see a safe space, or you don't feel that you are in a safe space, well, one, you know what I'm saying, like, for real, if that's really how it is, then we need to make sure that you're getting safe. You have to get safe first. If you're in an unsafe situation, like, you have to get safe first. Getting safe is different than becoming a safe space. You have to get safe first in order for you to even be able to perceive being a safe space. Because if you are in an unsafe space, you are now an unsafe space, because you're internalizing that environment that you're in. And this is I'm speaking from a former unsafe space, because I was in an unsafe relationship. I was in a state of perpetual, like, is this gonna be the day? And then when it wasn't the day, it's like, well, damn, like, honestly, like, I wouldn't mind it being the day, even if it's like something that I had ended up like bringing onto myself, like, because this situation is just, it's unsafe, and there's no life here. There's no living here. You can't live in a space that is unsafe. You can't. Buildings and other things get condemned, you know, when they're not safe. So you have to be able to make yourself safe first. You have to be able to get safe first in order to become a safe space. And getting safe is a process, and that really, it depends on so many different things. And I pray that anybody who is in an unsafe space understands that they are worthy and deserving of being safe. They are worthy and deserving of getting safe. And I pray that whoever is in an unsafe situation, that you are able to get safe, make yourself safe, and become a safe space. Because we need more safe spaces in the world. Like, we really need more safe spaces in the world. And the only way for us to have safe spaces in this world is if we become the safe space ourselves. And becoming a safe space requires a level of radical transparency, acceptance, love, recognizing, or recognition rather, elevation, surrender, transformation, joy, rest. It requires all of these things in order for us to get safe, be made safe, and become and stay safe spaces. That is just the name. That's the nature of life right now. Like, that is like the nature of life right now. Like we have to make ourselves space. We have to make ourselves safe so that we can be safe spaces. It's not safe out here. It's not as safe as it should be. And also, it is very safe out here. When I say very safe, I mean because of the places that I go, the areas I'm in, and the lifestyle that I live. The lifestyle I live I'm not really putting myself in unsafe spaces and unsafe situations, like, you know, because of where I'm at now and the things that I do. I'm just cultivating safe spaces, safe, healthy spaces, joy spaces, and, you know, I'm just operating in that aspect. So if that's where the operation is, then that's all that's going to continue to come back and flow, because that's what you're putting out. You know, you're actively seeking, you're actively doing, you're actively creating these spaces. So we have to be honest with ourselves and love ourselves the way through. And it's not, you're not gonna wake up every day like, oh my god, yeah, let's take over the world, like, woo, yeah, oh yeah. No, you're not gonna wake up every day like that. But this is important for those days when you do wake up like that and you need a little boost, you know what I'm saying? You need a little sprinkle, a little something. That's where the love comes in. That's where the faith comes in. That's where the surrender comes in. Like, you know, I woke up today, you know, and just speak it into, not speak it into existence, but speak it out. Speak it out. And a part of me doesn't speak out enough, in the sense of, I do a lot of like prayer and meditation in my head. And I have to, and sometimes it's just like, yo, girl, you gotta just speak it out, because you're still holding it in, or write it out. You have to let it out some way, somehow, and it can't just live in your brain. Like, you gotta like let it flow out, so other things can flow in and keep flowing and flowing and flowing. So be honest with yourself. Give grace. And if you don't have grace, just breathe. If you can't give yourself grace in a moment, if there's a moment where you genuinely cannot find the grace to give yourself, just breathe. Like, literally just, and keep doing that until you remember. And then repeat as necessary. Like, there's no way to we gotta pay more attention to our bodies and how we're responding to things and how we're showing up. And it all begins and ends with self. So we have to nurture ourselves. Self-care is mandatory. Self-care is a birthright. If our ancestors did the best they could with themselves to the point where we're currently surviving, or currently living rather, who says we can't? And we genuinely have more than them. So we owe it to our bloodline to at least try. Like, at least try. At least give it a go. Like, at least really just try. You know? You're not gonna get it right every day. You know, there are some days where, you know, you're supposed to do a thing, and then, you know, you won't do the thing. And you have to be kind to yourself, especially if you're maneuvering your psyche, and, you know, what comes up when maneuvering with your psyche. Our minds are so vast. The capacity that is in our brain it's something that I have to stop trying to conceptualize. I genuinely have to stop trying to conceptualize the fact that I barely know how to use my brain. Like, on the scale of like using my brain to not using my brain, like, I kind of know how to use my brain, and also I'm barely using my brain. I could be using my brain way, way better, way better, way better, way better. And that's okay, because we're on the path to just doing better. So when you do better, you know better. And that just sounds like your brain's better. So we're on the path to a better brain. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it. Whatever. I was going to say, some people are going to hear that and go left with it. I was like, nah, if you go left, you was never right. So, but yeah, y'all, look, we doing the best we can, okay? Like, we all we got. We doing the best we can. I hope that we continue to just work with our brains, figure out what you got going on. If you out here undiagnosed, talking about undiagnosed shorties. See, yo, excuse me, yo. I honestly, like, at least the short bus shorties, at least they had diagnosi or whatever, diagnoses. Like, they had their diagnosis. Like, they knew what time it was with them. Like, now I'm just out here. Took the long bus my whole life. Now I'm out here undiagnosed. And on the path to seeking a diagnosis. Just, it's just more just to understand what's going on with the brain, like what goes on. Like, okay, I know this is how I am, and this is what I do, and yada, yada, yada. But, like, why? Why? Like, just, there's some moments I'm just like, I'm like, okay. So, hey, man, it's me. I'm gonna be me, so you could be you, and then we could be we. Because that's the only thing, that's the only way we're gonna be able to make it. We have to be ourselves. We have to just be ourselves and seek out others who are being themselves. Because that's how you build community. Yeah. All right, let me get out of here. Peace and love. Breathe. We got this.